Just box more is a terrible idea when you want to improve your cardio for boxing. Well, it's actually not that bad. The more boxing training you do, the fitter you're going to get at boxing. But there's actually more things that you can be doing to improve your cardio fitness. And in this video, I will give you 2 proven strategies you need to use if you want to improve your overall cardiovascular fitness for boxing. And it's important that you understand both of these. And if you do, I guarantee you that your cardio will go through the roof. And at the end, like I said, I'm going to tell you how you can add these into your training schedule. Now, starting off with number 1. This is something we call aerobic-based training. Now I'll tell you what this training is and some methods that you can do right now to help improve this cardio. This training method is to improve your body's engine. This is the part of your fitness that keeps you moving for longer without getting tired. It's like building the foundation of a house. Once that foundation is strong, you can then build more on top of it. If your aerobic-based training is strong, you can work harder in the gym and for longer without running out of gas, and then you can start to build on top of this fitness. And on top of that, when you've got a strong aerobic-based fitness, this is going to help you recover faster in between rounds, which we all want to do, right? Get that heart rate right down. So what is this? Well, aerobic-based training is all about steady, low to medium intensity exercise for a long period of time. And I'm going to give you some examples in a second. But the key here is to go at a pace where you can still talk, but people can still see that you're exercising. And for you fitness nerds out there, you'll be working at an upper zone 2 pace. But you don't need to worry about zone 1, zone 2 to do this, because the simple sweet spot here is where your heart is working harder than it normally would. But you can keep your heart working that hard for 45 minutes or more without stopping. Like, you're not sprinting for 45 minutes or even a minute, so that's obviously the opposite of what I'm talking about. Now, when you are working at this low to medium pace, your body mainly uses your fat and your oxygen for fuel, which is great for building your overall endurance. If you go faster and push yourself harder, your body switches using to more carbohydrates for the fuel, which is harder for you to sustain for a longer period of time. Now, if you can raise your aerobic base, your fitness floor will just raise as well. That means you can train boxing for longer without hitting a wall and quickly getting tired, and also it'll help you bounce back in between rounds. Now, you can build this aerobic base by doing a couple of things. Number 1, which you've probably seen every single boxer of all time do, which is light jogging. You can also do cycling, swimming, or even jump rope. But I guess with jump rope, you need to really build that aerobic base floor high to get to the point of being fit enough where you can just jump rope all day long and your heart rate's not going through the roof. But the main thing for most boxers is that steady state running. After I competed in the Olympics, I turned professional, I would be doing a lot more of this aerobic style training. But in my case, it was always running, or should I say jogging, because it was slow and steady. Because as a professional boxer, I was fighting more rounds and longer rounds as well. Now, compared to that, when I was fighting in the Olympics, this was 4 2-minute rounds. So our training was a lot shorter and faster, and I'll touch on that in a little bit. But as a pro, I would be doing 3 to 4 45 to 60 minute of these long runs a week. Compared to as a world-class amateur, I would be doing 2 long runs a week, and the other runs were like a lot shorter and faster, like I mentioned. And I've created an amazing video giving you a great run that will 100% improve all of the things that I'm talking about. I'll send you the link after you've watched this video. But first, let's talk about the second type of training and some more things that you can do to improve that cardio. And then I'll tell you how you can add both of these into your weekly training sessions. Okay, so once you've built that good aerobic base, you also need to train the higher gear, so you have the ability to go hard for short bursts and then recover in between. And that's what we call interval training. It's like boxing itself. You know, you'll be there, you'll be steady, moving around, and ba 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 ba. You feel a fast combination, you move your feet in, move your feet out, and then you'll recover in between. Then you'll go fast, then you'll go slow, I guess, depending on your opponent and the game plan and everything else. But even if on the heavy bag as well, you know, we go hard, then we slow it down. So it's important that we do interval training outside of the boxing gym. Now with this, like I said, you're going to push yourself for as hard as you can for a set amount of time, then rest, then repeat. Then push yourself, then rest, then repeat. And I'll give you some examples in a second. Now this sort of training will help your body handle the more intense work. Now here is 2 different types of interval training that you can do right now. I'll find my whiteboard and I'm going to show you. I just rub this off. Oh, there. So the first one is a run. Now this is something that I did train for the Olympics. We would do this twice a week. Now the funny thing is about this, it only takes you about 15 minutes to do, and you're actually only going to be running for 8 minutes. Now you might be thinking, well, this is easy, Tony. Do it. Come and comment on this video and tell me it's easy. Now with this, ideally, you have a running track, but you don't need one. Now this is my running track right here. And what this run is, other than horrible, because it's so hard, we call this the 4-2 minutes sustained run, right? Now, if you haven't got a running track, you can, like I said, you can still do this. But what you're going to do is you're going to do your warm-up. We always want to warm up before we do this. And then you're going to start here, right? You're going to run around the running track as fast as you can for 2 minutes. Now, depending your size, your age, everything else, you should be getting around that running track at least once in 2 minutes. What I used to aim for was getting around once and then here, 1.5 times. And I remember doing this with Amir Khan, who's a successful boxer. When he was on the Olympic team with me, this kid would be finishing up like here or even here every single time, really fit when he was doing this. Now, after you've done your 2 minutes, what you're going to do is rest for 1. So we've got 2 mins on, 2 min run, 1 min rest. Then you're going to repeat that only 4 times. But the key is when you're doing this, 1, you need to pace yourself, because if you start off here and you run as fast as you can, I'm talking 100% effort, by the time you get to here, the first 100 meters, you're going to be exhausted. So you need to pace yourself so you can get through this for 2 minutes. And now the second thing is, when I'm talking about pacing yourself, I don't want you to pace yourself for 2 minutes. I want you to pace yourself for 2 minutes, which means pushing yourself as much as you can for that 2 minutes. Like, by the end of that 2 minutes, you want to be absolutely exhausted. And then you're going to use your minute to recover. The second time round, you're going to be knackered. You're going to be tired. But again, you've got to get mentally strong and get around that track for 2 minutes as hard as you can. And then use that minute of rest. And then you got to do it 4 times. Do not quit. Do not, right? The first time you do this, you might be absolutely gassed and exhausted, where you're like, oh no, it's too hard. That means you've pushed yourself too much. You want to finish this off. Even if you are walking around the last time, do not quit. We can't quit. We can't get into the mindset of, oh, it's too hard, I'll quit. Because that mindset will just follow you into the ring. Now, that's a completely different video that I can talk about there, about talking about that shit, where people quit because things get hard. No, you setting out to do 2 minutes of running, do 2 minutes of running, right? Don't just quit because it gets hard. Anyway, I'm waffling on now. After you've done them 4 2s, then lie down on the ground, stretch, relax, take some deep breaths. But again, that's only 2. That is only 8 minutes of work, right? 8 minutes, you can do that. Now let's move on to the next sort of training. This, my friend, rub it off.
A few minutes later.
Tabata training. This is something that I used to do when I first started boxing back in 1995. I'm feeling old now. Old school, right? Old school stuff. But back then, we didn't use the word Tabata training. That's kind of the posh word for this. We would just do this. There wasn't even a name for it. But we would do this on the heavy bag. But you don't need a heavy bag to do this. You can do this anywhere or on the heavy bag. I'll write this on here. Now, you can do this Tabata training on a treadmill, on a bike, on a assault bike, which that's one I would definitely recommend you do it on. Or you can even do this on the bag or even in running. Now I'm going to give you some methods of being able to do this. Now basically what this is high intensity interval training. And this HIIT training has been proven many times to increase your VO2 max, which is the maximum amount of oxygen your body can use during intense exercise. And the higher your VO2 max, the better endurance and your ability to perform at a high level for longer, which is where you go 100% effort for 20 seconds and then 10 seconds rest. Do it again, then rest. So like I said, you can do this on all of these things here, but rather than totally rest, like on the bag, rather than just stand there and rest, what I do is go nice and light, some active recovery. And the same with all of these, actually, active recovery, where you're working on recovery, but you're still moving around going light. Now, for the running one, here's an old school thing that I used to do, and you can ask just about any old school boxer, they've probably done this as well, is where you're on the street and you're running. Look at this. Can you guess what this is? It doesn't look like it. This is the road. You're running lamppost to lamppost. This is me here. Whoa, look, running as fast as I can. You run into that lamppost, and then you jog to that lamppost, run to the next one, and jog to the next one. I used to do this all the time when I was younger, and just another part of Tabata training, but also interval training that will help build that VO2 max. And like I said, the higher that VO2 max, the better and fitter you're going to get. Now, how often should you be doing these? Well, I'm going to tell you that, and also I'm going to tell you how your week should look, and when you should add these in and when you shouldn't, and what boxing training you should do. But before I tell you about that, I just want to talk about one more massive thing, right? That will help you get better at boxing, right? Because you could do all of this training. You can be the fittest person in the world, the fittest runner in the world. But mate, doesn't mean you're going to be good at boxing, does it? You know that. I know you know that. But what will improve your boxing 100%, right? Your all-around boxing game is if you improve your footwork. Because without having great footwork in boxing, because when you know how to move your feet correctly, not just forwards, backwards, side to side, but I'm talking about stepping and punching at the same time. I'm talking about stepping in positions to be able to throw faster counter punches. I'm talking about being able to move your feet at the same time as you're defending. So not only don't you get hit, but it puts you in a great position to throw counter punches. Anyway, if you improve your footwork, everything else in your boxing game will excel. Like everything, your speed, your power, your combination punches, your counter punches, your defense, your offense, your reactions, your cardio will improve if you've got good footwork and you're moving around the right way. Now, there's a couple of ways of doing that. One is, check out my YouTube channel. I've got loads of free videos on here where I talk about footwork. But the other way, the better way, is by checking out the Boxing Footwork Academy. This academy gives you everything you need to know step by step to make your footwork the very best it can be. Now you can either scan here or go to boxingfitness.com/footwork. The links is below and check out this. And I've made this academy very affordable for everyone. And I guarantee you that this academy won't just improve your feet, but everything else as well. So check out the links below and go to the Boxing Footwork Academy. Okay, now let's talk about what you should be doing to train both your aerobic and your interval training outside of your boxing workouts. And just so you know, by mixing both aerobic training and interval training, you're going to build both of the long-lasting endurance to keep you going through your sessions and also that explosive power to be able to push hard when it matters most, you know, when you're exhausted in the session. And the combination of these two types of training will help you throw more punches, move better, and still be strong in your last round. Well, I guess it depends how hard you push yourself through the session, but it'll make you way fitter than you are now. So how often should you do this? Well, this is a question I get asked often about training, and the answer is always the same. This depends on your goal. Now, if you're not planning to fight, doing 1 or 2 high-intensity interval sessions a week will be great. And you can also do these HIIT sessions at the end. Let's say if you've done a strength session, at the end of that strength session as well. If you're not planning on fighting, a sample week would look something like this. You do 3 boxing sessions a week because boxing is actually the most important thing for all of this. You want to get, the more boxing training you do, the fitter you will get at boxing. But then if you can also add in 2 HIIT sessions and 1 long aerobic base session, that will be great if you're not planning on fighting. If you are planning on fighting, obviously you've got to switch things up and work around and do even more than that. But what you should do is a different type of run, not the one that I talked about earlier on, but this one that I've done on this video right here. This is an absolute game changer when it comes to cardio and endurance. Click here and watch this video next.